Hello, hello, and welcome to our Tree of Life recording. I would love to glance at this picture to start, and I know it could look a little overwhelming. We see a lot of circles and we see a lot of lines and lines connecting them into diamonds. And while this is not a class or a course with the purpose of mastering Kabbalah, I do want to bring attention to the healing and balancing approach that this Tree of Life paradigm offers us. So I'm just going to give you a little tour just for a background. Over here, we have the feminine side of the Sphirot Tree of Life. And when I say feminine, I am not talking about woman. And when I say masculine, I am not talking about man. But the Torah teaches that we all have both feminine and masculine qualities within us to varying degrees. And not just a human body, but everything in the universe has a mix of these more feminine qualities, which are more receptive and contractive, and then the more masculine, which is on this right side, which are known to be more of the giving and the expansion. Of course, neither is better or worse. In fact, being too much on one side is not balanced, but the whole point of the Tree of Life is to come into this middle central column. And this middle central column, which is Keter, Da'at, Tiferet, Yesod, Malchus, these are the spaces that we want to dwell because they are a mix and a harmony of both the right side and the left side. Now, if you take a look up here where it says Tree of Life, the whole point of ER, what we are exploring is healing modalities. And this Tree of Life gives us this healing approach through coming into center and alignment. You may have recalled that the Hebrew letter of ER is the Vav, which is a straight line. It's no coincidence that the Vav looks like these straight lines in the center column of the Tree of Life. ER is a connector month. We spoke in our live session that ER connects last month of Nisan, the Passover freedom, with the next month of Sivan, which is about receiving in unity. ER is this connector month horizontally in time. And it's also a connector month between above and below. And this is what I mean. Above in the Tree of Life is the crown, the mind, and then we have the heart, which is in the center. And then the body, the liver, the instinctual Sphirot are below. If we're living too much in our mind, we're not balanced. And perhaps we need to draw down into these heart emotions. If we're only living in these lower instinctual, more body-centric energies, they're also our sexual energies, then we need to try to lift out of that and balance more into our heart and mind. So ER connects horizontally, but also vertically, up and down. Are you living too much in your mind? Then come down. Are you living too much in your body? Then lift on up. This is part of what the Tree of Life paradigm offers us. I'm not going to go and explain each sphira because this class is not about Kabbalistic understanding, but I do want us to look at these triads and how we can find balance. So for the first triad, triad 1, which is right here, Chesed, Gevura, Tiferet, these are the emotions of the heart. The acronym for this is Hagat. Now, let's zoom in a little bit on this triad up here. We have these emotions of the heart. Chesed, which is the right side. This is the more masculine quality. It's more expansive, outward. It is translated as loving kindness, giving, pouring out, expansion. And we've all experienced times in our life where we're overgiving and depleting ourselves. So that would indicate that we are imbalanced. We are too much in chesed, giving outward. And if that's the case, we need some gevura, which is over here. Gevura is restraint. It is an inward focus. It is creating space to receive. It is creating boundaries to make a vessel for yourself. So although it seems harsher, restraint, it's actually a form of self-love and self-care to be here in Gevura. Of course, we've all been overly strict. We've had too much boundaries. We've been too introspective. That means we're too harshly on the left side. We're too contractive, and it means we're hanging out too much on this left side and we're not balanced. Where do we want to be? Right here in Tiferet. Right here in Tiferet harmony. And this is the place of beauty because it's a harmonious balance of giving and receiving, of outward and inward, of benevolence and discernment. And Tiferet represents a wholesome, full, abundant heart because it is a balanced heart. It is a giving that is not depleted, but is also filling up. So with this Tiferet balanced heart, we are filling up our hearts, we are receiving, we are giving ourselves self-care. And with that full cup, we are giving out. And in this way, we are never depleted. So this is the balance we're looking for in the emotions of the heart. You'll explore this more with your Havruta partner or partners. And every person is going to have this show up differently in their life. You can look at this in a lens of work life. Am I overextending myself? Is there too much chesed? Do I have enough boundaries with my time? You can look at this in your relationships. And you can also look at this in terms of the limiting belief that we set last month in Nisan. So an example of a limiting belief of mine is I do not have enough time. So when I look at this limiting belief and I explore it through these 3 emotions of the heart, I could look at it and say, well, maybe I'm giving my time too easily to everyone. Do I have enough boundaries? Do I have enough gevura around my time? And if I can create these limitations, then I'll have a balance. I'll have time for myself and time for others. So you can explore your limiting belief together in your Havruta. And I want you to focus on this question in green. How do I express love and how do I receive love? Is it balanced? Is it Tiferet? Is my outward focus energy and inward focus energy harmonious? You may be interested in these 3 elements that I put here. And Kabbalah teaches that chesed is the element of water. right? Water just outpours. There's no discernment. It just goes wherever it can fill space. Hesed, water is throughout Torah a word that represents love and compassion and giving. And then fire is Gevura, right? It has a wick, or it has a specific center that it's attached to, and it goes up with power and with strength. And then Tiferet, we have wind, and wind mixes energies together. You have the winds of the north, the winds of the south, and wind, like Tiferet, is like an artistic beauty, a spiritual artistry of mixing energies and qualities. It's more ethereal because this balance takes a lot of play, a lot of flexibility. So this is Triad 1. I'm going to zoom back out. Here we're moving down to Triad 2, which is Netzach, Hod, Yesod. These are, as you see, the body and instinctual sphirot, sometimes known as like the sexual energies also, but not limited to that. So let's zoom into Triad 2. Triad, I think you say it like that. Okay, Triad 2. Here we are. So here we have Netzach, which is the more masculine, forward propelling energy. Netzach comes from the word menatzech, to conquer or overcome. So this is pushing forward. It is domineering. It is getting your opinion in the lead. It is leading the pack. It is very aggressive. But it's a really important energy to have, of ambition, of perseverance, of endurance, fighting for what you believe in, moving forward with your cause, being confident as you go forward. So, of course, if you're too domineering, then you're not stepping back and noticing other people's views. In a really gruesome trigger warning, but in a very gruesome metaphor by Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan, who is a famous rabbi that explains the sphirot in human terms. Most simply, he says, Netzach, imbalance, is like rape. You're not looking at your receiver or seeing them or understanding them. You are in charge, and you are negatively powering forward without having a balance of Hod, which is stepping back or seeing the other person. So Netzach in its most imbalanced state is likened to rape. Of course, that's an extreme example, but there are minor examples. Perhaps in a meeting at work, you are not listening to your colleagues and your way is the highway. Or in your relationship, you're the domineering one and you're making the plans and you are leading. And sometimes that's important. And sometimes we need to step back and witness others. And this is what Hod is. The balance of Hod comes from the word todah, thanks, acknowledgement. Hoda'ah is praise. Being able to step back and witness someone else is Hod. In terms of work, it's letting things be. It's not fighting anymore, but it's witnessing. It's stepping back and letting someone else shine. Too much Hod is a problem. And Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan says in the sexual metaphor, too much Hod is like being submissive and not having any voice of your own. Someone else is overpowering you. You're just passive and taken advantage of. that is a horrible place to be in. That's an abusive relationship. A healthy sense of hold is stepping back and being and following someone, but with an active receiving. Following someone because you trust them and it's a healthy trust. Praying to the divine is a form of hold because it's sincere, it's humble. So of course we can notice how too much of either side, either stepping forward or stepping back, can be unhealthy. What we want is Yesod. Yesod is this connection. Yesod is a powerful connection between lovers or between friends when you're both leading and making space for the other to shine. Yesod is rooted in truth. It's grounded. It is about bonding. It is the epitome of intimacy, whether with a romantic partner or with God, the divine, with a friend. It is true connection. And the way my husband, who's a psychotherapist and he loves working with the Sefirot, he calls this tact, knowing when and how to step forward and knowing when and how to be quiet and let things be as they are. Because Yesod is about groundedness and earth, the element is earth. Because it's true, it's real, it's simple, and the Hebrew word for Yesod means to gather the forces together. We're gathering both the right side and the left. It's a form of harmony. And this is what we are looking for, which I would love for you to explore with your Havruta, is when are you powering forward? When are you softening and letting things be as they are? And are you rooted in your truth? So I know this is a lot to take in, and that's why we have a Havruta session to kind of explore this more. And I would also love for you to bring your questions, your insights, your struggles around this topic to our optional one-on-one session with me. So if you have not signed up already, please do. I would love to see the Tree of Life paradigm and how it expresses in your life. So thanks for listening. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Have a beautiful day. And I hope that this brings us to work on our balance, our harmony, and ultimately our healing to move forward to Sivan, the month of receiving and unity and